Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear friends. It's a great honor and pleasure for me to welcome you at the panel session 8, Attracting the Best Talent, How to Stay Competitive. We have a really distinguished panel today, and today we will try to deepen you to the topic of this, which is really relevant and of interest to each of us. So, oil and gas industry, as we all know, exists in a highly competitive environment. As we all could see from the topics that were discussed during this forum, during the roundtables and panel sessions, and the problems that were arise within those 3 days, the industry currently is rapidly transforming and evolving with an overall focus on efficiency and continuous improvements. As many businesses, oil and gas industry is highly dependent on people who work in it. Undoubtedly, it is smart and talented professionals, students, young professionals that empower the industry and making it grow and thrive. But the most important thing here, I think, is that the development of the industry is impossible without youth. Their actions will definitely determine how the energy future would look like. So how to minimize the increasing talent gap? How to retain a wide diversity of talent? How can we build a skill set of proficiencies to remain competitive in such a highly competitive environment? What are the ways of nurturing an innovative culture amongst young professionals and students? All these questions will be arising within these 1.5 hours, and our keynote speakers will address their solutions to the audience that they can see in this very interesting situation. So let me first introduce our first keynote speaker, Joanna Desjardins. She holds a finance MBA from the Haskins School of Business, as well as a mechanical engineering degree, with a petroleum minor from Sholin School of Engineering. Joanna currently is a senior specialist in business and corporate development from Cenovus Energy Incorporation. She is also vice president for diversity, inclusion, and youth at the WPC Executive Committee. And her today's presentation is entitled, What Do Young Employees Really Want? So really interesting topic. Please welcome.
First off, thank you so much for letting me address you here today. I have a special place in my heart for these youth forums because myself, like some of our team here today, had hosted the same just a few years ago. So it really is a testament to what young professionals and students can do when they come together. And I think the level of professionalism that we've seen over the last few days just really goes to show the passion and the level of dedication that these young professionals have for our industry. So thank you. I wanted to discuss a couple areas in my talk today, I think, to frame our conversation. What is it that young professionals really want? What are they looking for? I wanted to touch on 3 core areas. One, the language that we use. There is a large generational gap between our senior leaders and the students coming into our industry today. So just wanted to highlight, just for attention, perhaps the different understandings of language that we use. And second, as part of the WPC, we do a survey every 3 years about talent attraction and retention. So I wanted to highlight a few key points from that just to ground our conversation here today. And lastly, I'll talk a little bit about industry perception. So language, is it mixed messages or mixed expectations? I hear a lot of strong statements on both sides happening between what we think our impact will be on industry. And I just wanted to highlight the bookends of how that may come across depending on which way you hear it. Sometimes young professionals say, I want to make an impact, I want to make a big impact, I want to use my time very efficiently. Employers sometimes hear that you want to be CEO tomorrow, and that scares them. We say nothing is impossible. Though very lofty as a goal, Do our employers think that we don't understand risks? I want to move fast. Does that mean we're not careful? I want to be agile and adaptive. Does that mean we are indecisive or think only short term, that our values change and our commitment may also? We had the opportunity at the 21st WPC in Doha to bring up the concepts of talent attraction and retention in a survey that we had done, and we highlighted that this was one of the major concerns for industry leaders today. So we were very lucky to have a global reach of 2,100 respondents. We divided those into groups of students and young professionals, and we had learned some interesting facts about what they thought was the most important aspects of joining our industry. So for students, the top 3 reasons that they were attracted into our industry was interest in the field, which is fantastic. They actually believe that we did something interesting that could attract them to start a career with us. They knew that we had global opportunities. Of course, energy is one of the industries that has touched every corner of the planet. And they understood that it was a very high-tech industry and that it was changing every day. You'll notice that one of those 3 is not salary. We saw a decrease in the rank of remuneration, and it's no longer a key driver. However, we also noticed that 6% of the respondents said they could not see themselves ever entering this industry. So we asked why. They cited lack of opportunities for young professionals, uncertainty for their job security in the future, and maybe that the family and work-life balance was not ideal. When we looked at predominant answers from the young professionals, we noticed that only 43% intended to remain in the industry throughout their career. What was most significant about this number is that when we had done this survey in 2018, just 8 years before, 2008, just 8 years before, that it was at 70%. So there was a dramatic drop in young professionals that thought that they can see their way through their entire career in our industry. More to that, 11% planned to leave in the very near future. I put on the range of responses, but I'll highlight just a few, and there's a few common reasons. Future job security, lack of career path visibility, and promotion opportunities ranked in the top 3. What that means is that the young professionals that have entered or are entering in this period of uncertainty and volatility in our industry are not seeing where they belong. Now, granted to them, we're in a prolonged period of uncertainty. We're in a bust cycle, so they've had a very tough time compared to other generations in seeing where their industry can take their career. Also to note on the list is environmental concerns, gender barriers, and negative image of the industry. I'll highlight one other main difference that we've seen from a change from the prior iteration to the last iteration of the survey. And when we asked what can be done, increase in salaries, which is the 3rd bar that you see, it dropped from 22% to 14%. So money is no longer what keeps people in industry. It's not what attracts people to industry. Instead, they're asking for mentorship programs and more support from senior leaders. And they want to be given big responsibilities so that they can see their impacts materialize. So what are our key mantras for managers? I think we need to focus on building our teams, not building the business. If you build up the right personnel and you focus on getting them to be the best that they can be in their career, they will build the business for you. Also, give opportunities, give feedback, give lots of appreciation for jobs well done. Lastly, I want to address industry perception. I think our industry has been struggling with this for a really long time, and globally this might be different from region to region. But I think in this forum with the young professionals here today, I have a strong message and a call to action for you. If you believe that energy is improving the human condition, you should say it. We should be proud that we live in economies that are not energy poor and that we have a level of lifestyle that is very comfortable. There is still roughly 2 billion people in the world that don't enjoy that level of comfort. So I do believe from the bottom of my heart that energy is a good thing. Now, I know the energy mix is changing, and I know there are a lot of opinions about what that would look like. So my call to you is that if you think we can do something better, insert yourself in that conversation. Don't just criticize, but call yourself to action. It is through your talents and your skills that you can do something. You are very relevant to how we shape this future. It is not enough anymore to discuss or criticize. We actually need you to be at the tables, the decision tables, at the forefront of technology and new ideas to make sure that we are on the right path. So with that, thank you.
Joanna, thank you very much for such a nice introduction to our session. Actually, our session can be divided into two parts. The first three presentations will be like an introduction to the topic, and of the rest three will be given the best practices of how those problems were solved at different companies. So what approaches do they have? So thank you very much, Joanna. Joanna has pointed the very critical questions for the industry. How does the industry work, and what problems are of the very high concern for the young professionals? So thank you very much again. And Now I'm very happy to introduce the second speaker of our panel session. This is Tana Garcia Lastra from Spain. Tana holds a degree in economic and business administration, an MBA in postgraduate studies in energy businesses. Currently, she is development and institutional relations director at Chorus Company. And her presentation is dedicated to such a cute topic as attracting talent through strategy and reputation. Please, Tana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ivan, for the introduction. I'm going to focus my presentation today on the relationship between strategy, reputation, and attracting talent. This is nothing new. Every sector is facing new and exciting challenges. All of us, we are talking about the same themes all over the world: unexpected challenges, digitalization, big data, customer orientation, and so on. But in the oil and gas industry, we are also facing an additional challenge. We are facing an accelerated energy transition. So at the end of the day, there's very high competition for the right talent. All sectors, we are competing for the same people. But we have to take into account, first, that growing costs for attracting and maintaining new talent are growing. I'm going to give you a couple of figures. Hiring costs account for 21% of the employee's yearly salary as an average. And the average cost per hire in the US is more than $4,000, with an average of 42 days to fill an open position. And this is growing. Attracting talent is more and more expensive. Additionally, there's a very high expectation of rotation. As Joanna also mentioned, it has a link with that. On average, 43% of millennials stay up to 2 years in a job. That's not enough time in our sector. And only 1/3 stay beyond 5 years. And in this context, oil and gas industry requires long-term careers, so we should do something about it. I'm showing here information from a report, from the Ministerial report. They survey up to 200,000 students all around the world, not only regarding the oil and gas industry, but about every single sector in the world, and they ask them about their preferred industries to work for. In purple, you see the business students, and in blue, engineering and IT students. As you see, the preferred industries to work for are first management, and strategy consulting, then financial services, software, computer, IT sector. And it's not very good news, but it is not a surprise that the energy sector is number 11. It's number 11 nowadays, and only 15% of the engineering students choose as a first preference to work for the energy sector. And we have to consider that we are including here also renewables, power, and so on. So the oil and gas figure would be much lower. We have a challenge here. Why? It's clear that there's a negative perception of the oil and gas sector with all those negative news crossing over the media every single day. But there's also maybe a feeling of lack of future, as the future belongs to renewables. A lot of people think about it. In fact, if we have a look at this information, once again coming from the Universium survey, these are the top world's most attractive employers. Once again, business students in purple, blue students in blue, engineering students in blue. It's very shocking that we don't find any oil and gas company, we don't find any energy company between the top 10 world most attractive employers. We see companies like Google, Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, Apple, no energy companies as top preference. Why? It's clear that years ago, the challenge of the sector regarding attracting talent was just selecting the right people. In my times, when I joined the sector, everybody of us wanted to work for the energy sector. But nowadays, the mode has changed from selection to attraction. Now we need to attract talent, and it has really strategic implications for every oil and gas company. I wonder if there is a relationship between the attractiveness of an employer and its reputation. And I guess that the answer is yes. From my experience, I think that company is 75% of doing and 25% of communicating. Doing is defining the right strategy, developing the different business areas, being profitable, working with an environment, social and government policy, and so on. But this is not everything. We have a growing number of stakeholders, of group of interest. And in fact, these stakeholders are also communicating between each other. So we have to take into consideration communication. When we talk about communication, we talk also about perception. Talking about perception is talking about reputation. If we define reputation as the emotional connection between our stakeholders and our company, improving reputation will improve the likelihood to become employers of choice for our industry. This is absolutely clear. So let's have a look about what is going on with reputation. Once again, I'm showing here some figures. This rank comes from the Reputation Institute. The energy sector is not on the top 10 ranking of reputation. Once again, not very good news. The first sector is the consuming sector, hospitality, automotive, technology, industrial. The energy sector is not present in this ranking. This is very coherent with this information. When we look at the top 100 ranking of reputation regarding companies, we see that there are no energy companies in the top 100. We find companies like Rolex, Lego, Disney, Adidas, and so on. No energy company has been included in this ranking. So maybe there's a relationship between reputation and the ability to attract talent. If we improve reputation, we are going to improve our ability to attract and retain talent. And this needs a strategic approach. This is not anymore a responsibility of the human resources departments, but it should be included and integrated in the company's strategy. What are the main factors considered when choosing an employer? Once again, I'm going to take into consideration the student's point of view. And we will see that we have a lot of points in common with the presentation of Joanna. First, strong prospects of growth. Students are looking for high future earnings. And also innovation. Innovation is the second most important attribute for IT students. We have to keep this in mind. Secondly, purpose, mission, and vision is very important. It's very important the alignment of the personal target and the one of the company. In fact, more than 50% of students consider seeking purpose and finding the meaning of life at work as a career goal. So money is not so important. We are talking about purpose. We should be able to communicate our purpose to this specific group of stakeholders. 60% of the students want to make an impact on the world in the future. A very important point as well. Leadership. Students are looking for motivating and innovative leadership models, leading professional development. In fact, CEO's reputation is directly correlated to the company's reputation, according to Reputation Institute. So we have also a lot of work to do regarding our CEOs. The best our CEO communicates, and if they are able to improve the reputation of the company, we are going to become employer of choice. The fourth factor is focus on employees. Joanna also mentioned this. People are concerned about development and well-being. Once again, we are talking about an emotional salary. And also, the internal reputation of the company is a key factor. Young professionals and students are looking at the testimonies of current employees to choose if they are going to work for a company sector or not. So once again, I would like to take the idea of Joanna about employees to be our reputation ambassadors. This is a very important point. Additionally, familiarity with the company is a key point. This is very basic. Better knowledge of the company implies better reputation. And also communication. We have been talking about communication, but we have to take into account that more than 50% of students use social media and employer websites to find out about a company. So we should promote these communication channels. As a conclusion, how could we increase our attractiveness as an employee? By enhancing our reputation. We can do it. This is a combination of doing and communicating. Regarding prospect for growth, we have the responsibility to communicate that we have a very exciting challenge. We are facing the energy transition, and we will require creative and innovative people. And we are in a sector with a future, with growth perspective. Regarding purpose, mission, and vision, we have to define a coherent mission focused on environment, social, and government issues, because this is the aspects that people are caring about. Also enhancing the link between business and society and improving company ethics and communicating it, because young people are looking for this. Implementing a very clear leadership model is also a relevant factor. Focus on employees. How? Promoting a flexible structure so that everyone can have a development there, and maybe changing career dynamics. This sector is used to use very long-term careers. When I joined the sectors, I stayed in the same department maybe for 10 years. And now it is not the case. Nobody will stay there for the next 3 years. So we have to change our state of mind. Maybe we need to work in a different way, the way the consultant companies work, by projects with a more dynamic environment. Familiarity with the company is also key. Once again, using employees as ambassadors and improving the CEO familiarity to become an attractive employer. And finally, communicating. Once again, communicating is 25% of the success. I would like to finish with a quote from the Chief Reputation Officer at Reputation Institute. I think we can use it in the energy sector. He says, to become an employer of choice, a company should be innovative, deliver a high-quality product experience at a good value, be ethical, environmentally conscious, and positively mindful of societal influence, in addition to having an appealing leadership. I think that the oil and gas industry is able to provide this to society. Thank you very much.
Tana, thank you very much for such a clear message from your presentation. Yeah, it's actually true that the reputation of a particular company is extremely important for the whole industry, because this is what, like a building. It consists of some blocks, and each company shall contribute to their reputation in order to make an image of the company positive. And I was really surprised that in the ranking of top 10 companies, there are any companies representing energy industry. This is what we should think about now, and what we should be aware of in the future. So thank you very much. Our next distinguished speaker is Mr. Kirill Valentinovich Molodtsov. Kirill Valentinovich got his degree in oil and gas production, global economy and law. And currently, he is advisor to the Chief of Staff at the Presidential Executive Office of the Russian Federation. His presentation is going to be dedicated to Russian oil and gas sector, treasure trove for innovation and talented professional. Please.
Добрый день.
Good afternoon, dear participants of the discussion. Good afternoon, dear audience. I listened to the first two presentations, and I understood that I don't want to speak about the prospects of production and involvement of hydrocarbons into the global energy. And the theme that I was one proposed by the forum organizers, human resources, potential and possibilities, and the prospects of the sector for individual growth, probably is the most interesting theme that should be discussed now. Therefore, first of all, I would like to thank this the wonderful panelists who are present here. They're so beautiful and wonderful. Or on the stage, I would like to thank everyone who is present here for having agreed to participate in the discussion. The most beautiful and the most useful discussion that we're going to have today within the forum. Since I have the honor to sit in the middle and to talk about the sector, I will say a few words not related to the presentation. In the course of the great number of discussions related to hydrocarbon sector, we understand that now, in the global dimension, there are about 2 billion persons who are deprived of energy in terms of daily use of electricity, daily having the possibility to take transport to use it, and involvement of at least 2 billion persons into the possibility of living, having a high-quality life and having the best standards, and to get energy for their daily existence. That is the task to be resolved by the energy sector. The statement that energy companies are not among the top 10 or top 100 companies of the world with a great greatest attractiveness as to the prospects of working in these companies. I might agree to a certain extent or disagree, proceeding from my own experience. Where I worked in the banking sphere and the governmental management, I have been dealing with hydrocarbon sector for 20 years. I understand that if a person wants to work in the energy company that works in the sphere of processing and reproduction of energy and generation of energy, this should be a mobile person, an innovative person, and he would believe that other people would need his work, and he wouldn't be afraid of changing the place of his work or his current living conditions. He should be mobile. That is sort of an extrovert, such a type of a person who is always ready to receive something new and creative. And the Russian energy companies are not, unfortunately, among the top energy companies of the world in terms of attractiveness, but as per the reserves, Rosneft is the largest world company in terms of reserves. As to the possibilities of attracting new resources and new types of hydrocarbon raw materials development, each company, Rosneft and Gazprom and other companies, are innovative and advanced companies, and their experience is needed globally. And the cooperation with other energy companies, and we know them, Exxon, Shell, BP, Total, all the companies actually, all these companies interact between themselves, and the flow of personnel from one company to another is quite normal. It is quite acceptable for future development of each person. The third statement, all of us understand that a person who graduates from high school, as was said at my time, about 25 years ago when I graduated from the high school, I was said, you should forget what you have been taught at the university and start working. Now, probably that is not the case, because the people who are training and who have self-education really are of interest not only for the special employer, for the sectoral employer. It is he's interesting as a personality for any employer, because they find adjustments of professional training for a special sector. Other things will be revealed after graduation from the high school, and in 2 or 3 years the person might be tuned to the priority of the sector that he has selected. And training in such specialities as geologists, developer of oil and gas fields, even pipeline transport, all these specialties without special education, as you understand, would be impossible. You cannot start transporting oil or engaged in hydrocracking, and you can develop the Arctic without having special knowledge. Therefore, the priority of such special sector, it might not be felt. It is easier to work in the sphere of hospitality business, or, for instance, in, well, what was the first one? Something about retail, I think, but it is impossible to develop oil and gas fields and to deal with hydrocarbons, generate energy, as it is impossible to be a pilot without special training. I will give a brief historical example.
It's about Russian history, but maybe it could be interesting from the international standpoint. You know that Russia in the last century had been through many turmoils. We had several revolutions. We had at least 2 world wars. We've been through lots of local conflicts. But at the outset of the 20th century, when Russia changed the powers, I mean, from authorized state, I mean, there was another type, that is October Revolution, and then for the state, especially interesting were profile specialists, 2 categories of specialists. If you visit Mining University, the major building which outlooks Nevarevo, you'll see lots of portraits illustrates, dated as far back as 1870, 1950, 1960. This transition after 1917 was the period when a great number of people were destroyed. A great number of people were destroyed, those who ideologically could not accept and tolerate the new authorities, new power, but the developers of salt mines, coal mines, specialists in those sectors were always in high demand. Another example, at the same time, when top qualified specialists from the old imperial army were destroyed, the military specialists engaged in artillery science were never destroyed, actually, because they are specialists, subtle, sophisticated specialists, those specialists who are well versed in their sector. I mean, they'll always be in high need and high demand, like in the past. Hydrocarbon sector towards this end is very important for any other sector, any other industry. Come what may, it will always be there. It will always be in high demand. Those who develop fields, those who provide the entire world with power energy will always be in high demand. However, the volumes of hydrocarbons production could be changing or whatever. The horizons of your own lives, the horizon of the nearest 50 years down the road is the horizon of hydrocarbon and consumption, renewables consumption, and creation of new sources of energy. One way or the other, you will have to engage in your profile professional activities all your life through. If there are questions, I'll take them gladly. So, dear colleagues, you've got wonderful, cheerful future, and it's guaranteed for you. You'll always be in high need and demand. Thank you. Thank you very much
for your expertise and for your opinion and your piece of advice you gave. Yeah, definitely, the petroleum industry is of really high risks, and of course, the requirements that the potential candidates should meet when they enter the industry are really high, because the level of responsibility is definitely extremely high, and the education system should also work in order to provide the industry with highly qualified personnel to ensure safety of the whole planet. Yeah, thank you very much again. Our next distinguished speaker is Dravka Demeter-Bubalo. She's from Hungary. She has a strong background in finance and business lines. She's an HR senior vice president at Hungarian company MOL Group, with more than 20 years of cross-industry experience in finance, FMCG, and oil and gas sector. And her presentation is dedicated to challenges of attracting diverse talent and the best practices that MOL Group company has in this regard. Please welcome.
Good afternoon, Dobry den. It's my pleasure and honor to be here in such a distinguished panel. And before I start, congratulations to the organizers for really great and smooth organization and really fantastic hospitality here in St. Petersburg. I will talk about the challenges that we just heard from our distinguished speaker from the corporate angle, and I will share what we are doing at MOL Group in order to attract diverse and different talent. So who we are? MOL Group, based in Hungary, however, operating across 3 continents in more than 30 countries, with 43 nationalities, and with more than 26,000 employees, 4 refineries, 2 petrochemical plants, more than 107,000 barrels daily production, almost 1,900 service stations, mainly in Central Eastern Europe, with more than 1 million transactions per day. That's who we are. And let me share shortly what we are doing to attract talent to our industry. So what is making us even more diverse is basically our people, our 26,000 employees, where we have almost 1,700 petrotechnical professionals, such as you in the room, mainly working in our downstream and upstream divisions, 4 generations working together. So our colleagues close to knowledge transfer and retirement, baby boomers, 25%, Generation X, that's me, so I'm one of the representatives, and our future and current leaders, so Generation Y and Generation Z, our current and I would say our future bosses as well. In terms of gender, we are a conservative male-dominated industry, so we are typical 75-25% male-female ratio. However, I will talk in a second, we are focusing very strongly and very much to gender balance, and with our fresh graduates programs, we ensure minimum 40% of the female intake to the company. So our diversity and inclusion policy, but as well our approach to attracting and retaining talent is built around 4 pillars: age, gender, well-being, which we see also as one of United Nations targets here on the wall as a number 3, and keeping international rate of very diverse workforce with different professional backgrounds and different nations. So what we are doing in terms of gender. I'm very proud to say that we committed ourselves to voluntary targets in terms of European Roundtable of Industrialists to constantly increase the share of women in our industry. So we have very bold targets that we are hiring, as I said previously, minimum 40% of female colleagues into the company as a fresh graduates, and we would like to increase the ratio of our female management to 30% by 2022. Connected to this, we have different programs and different channels how to achieve it. Here is one example. It's Small Group Female Engineers program, where we are focusing on STEM students, STEM female students. We are focusing on 30 universities in our region, in our core countries. We are hiring them every year through the very selective process, and we're giving them offer an opportunity to work for MOL, to get scholarship, to work on white papers, and to be participants of the conferences as well. Here on the picture you can see one of alumni, our colleague who is still with us, and she was the winner of the first female engineer MOL group program, working currently in Hungary. Moreover, under the sponsorship of our chairman CEO, we have well-established women leadership network with more than 100 female and male participants as a part of the network. Every year we have a great forum discussing the challenges in terms of diversity and inclusion with special focus on gender balance. And I brought a short video because a picture sometimes tells 1,000 words to see how it was this year for International Women's Day when we celebrated, and I had a forum regarding gender topic in Budapest. I assume video should run or should press once more. So this is about Women Leadership Network. Thank you very much. And as we heard today from our speakers as well, mentoring is integral and really critical and crucial part in development of young professionals, but as well more seasoned professionals. So we have a formal established mentoring program where both female and male leaders are mentoring our female colleagues. We have more than 100 mentee-mentor pairs, and they advise them in terms of their career progression, but as well in terms of everyday professional challenges to round the gender topic. So the next pillar of our diversity and inclusion strategy towards engaging different talent is age. We all know, and we also heard today, how experience in our industry is important, and the knowledge transfer itself. So basically, we are starting early enough. We are focusing very much already on secondary schools. We are focusing on secondary school pupils, and we would like to support them in their love towards natural sciences and the STEM sciences. So every year we are running secondary students competition in our core countries, and we have every year around 1,000 teams applying for the competition, where the best teams compete in live final. And this way we believe that we can make them to decide to enroll in the future STEM sciences. So how it was last year on our competition, just a short video as well from our Croatian operation. So we are building this pillar of early engagement towards STEM sciences then with university concept. So we have an online competition for university students that is running for more over a decade, so since 2007. Basically till now we engaged more than 25,000 students worldwide. Just last year we have 1,000 teams, 3-member teams from more than 70 countries participating in our online competition called Fresh. And the finalists are also coming for the live final in Budapest, and they're also getting a chance to work for MOL. So far we have more than 100 colleagues hired. I'm also very proud we have some of our Fresh colleagues here in the room as volunteers today. It's obviously working in the practice as well. And we are closing the loop basically with Fresh Graduate Program, which is also running for more than a decade. It's called GROW. So this is our Fresh Graduates platform where we onboarded more than 2,000 colleagues in last decade. But what we are especially proud of is that we have retention rate of 80%. So there is a future in the industry. So these young colleagues are staying with us. So when there is a focus, there is result. And what I am even more proud to tell, as in terms of the gender balance, we ensured the 41% female ratio with intake and onboarding of the young professionals towards the industry. And this is the last video, I promise, so I will just show you how it looked like on the onboarding day in Budapest last September.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. you want to.
So this is, thank you. This is our focus on the gender, and let me close the loop with well-being. So we all know how important is the healthy, active lifestyle and work-life balance of our employees, especially in nowadays very and ever-changing environment where I would say the borders between professional and private are not that anymore firm. So basically we are focusing on number of well-being aspects for our employees. Here is example from our well-being portal where they can choose from different support such as nursery or kindergarten help, different shopping discounts, housing allowances, support, etc. We also introduced flexi working arrangements 5 years ago in terms of flexi time and flexi work, primarily for our white-collar staff, our office workers, our administrational staff, so that they can work more flexibly from the home, especially for younger generation, which appreciate this part of the work. Different tailor-made compensation benefits, because one size does not fit all, so we can all choose how we are going to spend our benefits that company is providing on personalized level. And we are not 26,000 employees, we are much more than that with all the family members of our employees. So we are organizing family days across the board in all our countries every year to bring the people together. This is just the announcement and the poster for the upcoming one in Hungary. And last but not least, we know being in a heavy industry, how health conditions are important, especially having in mind that more than 15,000 of our employees works in production, in downstream and upstream. So we are ensuring really personalized and different health insurances for our employees. So this is in a nutshell from me how we are attracting best talent from age, gender, well-being and international rate point of view. And as my distinguished colleagues already said earlier, I believe there is a future in the industry and we can build it together.
Strelka, thank you very much for such a fruitful presentation. I think we could make a conclusion that MOL Group is definitely one of the most attractive employers. They have so many different programs. How many students are here in this audience? Please raise up your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 students. So this is a clear message for you that you can apply for those programs. They actually work really perfectly, because I have heard lots of feedback about those programs and all the feedback was just positive. I was really impressed that 40% of all the employees of the company are hired through those programs. This is really interesting number. And that the company cares a lot about gender diversity and all these very important things is very, very well and very interesting. So thank you very much. Our next speaker is representative of ExxonMobil company, Nadezhda Yevdokimova. Nadezhda received a degree in linguistics and has a PhD in pedagogics from St. Petersburg University. Currently, she is the leading HR function at ExxonMobil Russia Incorporation, with overall responsibility for talent strategies and developing successful HR solutions for the business. Her presentation will be about employer value proposition. Please.
Thank you, Ivan.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is a real honor to be a part of this very important discussion that we are having this afternoon. And thank you for being attentive and very active during all this session. I'm going to talk about employer value proposition and what is employer value proposition. We believe that this is a unique set of opportunities, benefits, perspectives that a concrete employer can propose and offer to its employees. And this is something which attracts people to join the company, and this is something that helps these people to stay in the company for quite a long period of time. Why we pay such big attention at ExxonMobil to what we can propose to our employees? Because, and this is not something new, and I think I reflect on what other speakers already were talking about, war for talent is not something new. That has been on agenda during the history of humankind. But the circumstances change, the business environment changes, and here now we need to reflect on this, and we need to be agile, proactive, to meet the current challenges. We search for talented women and men all across the world, and we want these people to come and stay with us for a long time. And the world is changing. It becomes more and more competitive, and that's why what we can propose to our employees, which values we demonstrate, is very much important. So this is what we believe makes us an attractive employer for those who joined our company. We're a real global company. We care about our employees, their families, and community, and we encourage diversity and inclusion. We want people who come from different cultural backgrounds, educational backgrounds, come and work in our company and utilize their potential to the extent they can. Be innovative, not to be afraid to talk, and to be a part of our mutual success. And that's why we say that we care about progress. So we are quite an established company, and we've been with this in this industry, which is really very important, for more than 135 years. And we are a very long-term oriented company. And this is the approach we also utilize when we think about our employees. ExxonMobil has been known for this long-term orientation during very big ups and downs in the development of the industry. We are trying not to have big layoffs during these jumps, economical jumps, which can be driven by different factors. We are looking at the workforce as a global resource, and we want our employees to come to us not for a job, but for a career, and to make a successful career and to be happy during their career in the company. We are a real global company. We are operating in 71 countries. We speak 18 business languages. When people join ExxonMobil, very often they do not realize that they can be traveling during their career across the globe. They can work in the US, in Russia, in Sakhalin, in Malaysia, in Canada, in Africa, and be involved in multicultural virtual groups, be talking to colleagues, and make an impact on the success of the company in other countries, being in a totally different geography. So this is a global reach, and we want to attract very diverse workforce, men and women, people from different cultural background. If we talk about Russia, and this is where I can talk about, ExxonMobil has been present in this country for more than 20 years. We have about 1,000 employees, and our major activity is in the far east of this big country. We have all sectors present in Russia, upstream, downstream, and chemical. And we are operating Sakhalin-1 project with 5 major sites in 2 regions of the Far East of Russia. Besides, we have offices in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Novosibirsk, and Ekaterinburg. And Sakhalin is a really attractive place to live, work, and develop your career, because this is a very modern operational unit. The current head or general manager of ExxonNefteGaz Limited is a young woman, which is not yet very common in ExxonMobil, because we are in a conservative industry and ExxonMobil is known for being conservative. But we are developing. And Shelley Beer came from Canada, worked in Sakhalin as the operations superintendent, worked in the US, and now she's back, knowing the production, knowing the people, and being a new leader, a representative of the new generation. I know that a colleague already participated yesterday and spoke about our social responsibility, which also works for the reputation of the company. And reputation is very important, as we heard during the previous presentations. We are a caring company. We really care about our employees, their families, the community where we live. And this is all about health and being happy. We strongly believe that a happy employee can be more productive. So we think first about business, of course, not just about somebody being generally happy. But we strongly really believe that if an employee has an opportunity to work flexible hours, to have adjustable work week, to be able to work from home, to participate in different employee-driven initiatives like Young Professionals Network, which is very popular and very, very efficient for generating discussions of our young professionals with senior people in the company, with leaders of the company. Our Women Interest Network is well developed across the world, and we are proud to say that we started this history of the Women Interest Network in Russia this year. We invite leaders, global leaders, come and talk about their careers, how they became successful. This helps our women to develop professionally and personally. We entertain our employees to the extent possible and have wellness days, provide special treatments, have different benefits that employees really value. And we also provide child care support program and employee assistance program to support people during difficult situations during their life cycle. And here, when I talk about progress, I here would use the word programs in 2 dimensions. First, this is the progress which the company makes with the help of the employees. And the second meaning of this word progress is how our employees progress during their career, how they develop professionally and personally. And if you look at these numbers, over the past 14 years, ExxonMobil globally invested more than $900 million for educational programs. Now we are looking at our leadership programs because we understand that the leaders of the future need to develop new capabilities, new skills in the new environment. And more than 75,000 participants ExxonMobil worldwide participated in different development programs. A good practice is also job rotation. So if you want to develop, you cannot especially in Russia, development is considered like a vertical going up, but you can develop horizontally. You can change your jobs, and for this you don't need to change an employer. You can have a different job with different skills requirements with the same employer, and this is what we try to focus on. So we have a lot to offer. I could talk for a long time. I have time limitations, but we also can and we will improve. And currently our focus areas are our leadership development, how we develop career paths for our employees, how we can be agile and support our employees during the life cycle with our company. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing with us best practices of ExxonMobil in the field of attracting and retaining the best talent. ExxonMobil is definitely one of the biggest players in the world, and it was really interesting to know how does the HR policies work on this company, so thank you very much. And our last but not least speaker is Snežana Lekićević from Serbia. Snežana received a degree at the Faculty of Law in Novi Sad and has a PhD in law. She's an advisor to Deputy CEO, Director of the Function for External Affairs, Government Relations and PR at NIS Gazpromneft company. So please, the floor is yours.
Dear colleagues, it's really a great pleasure for me to be here, but for beginning I would like to say something. Dear Rada, I really want to say congratulations to you and for your team for this amazing forum. It's a great experience for all of us, and thank you for this. Now, I'm going to present the corporate and our social responsible program, Energy of Knowledge, of the petroleum industry of Serbia. Firstly, I would like to draw your attention to key figures and statistics regarding the general information on the Republic of Serbia. Serbia has a population of approximately 6 million people. 26% of employed are young professionals up to 35 years old. The educational system in the Republic of Serbia approximately 250,000 students at all higher education institutions in our country. We have 8 public universities and 11 private universities. I could proudly say that NIS is the only company in Serbia engaged in the exploration and production of oil and gas. Now, I invite you to have a look at our corporate presentation of the company. Please, can you play the first video?
NIS is one of the largest vertically integrated energy systems in the Southeast Europe. Since 2009, we invested almost 3 billion euros in this 11,000 staff-strong giant. Another 1.5 billion euros will be invested by 2025. All this because Serbia is our home. We do not only share this house, we live in it together. Our children will inherit this house. This is why we care about every single corner of this house, be that a forest, a river, or a meadow. We have no other home. We are born in it. We live and grow in it. We took this land on lease from our posterity, and it is our responsibility to improve it before giving it back. This is why we explore new sources of energy, while treating our natural resources with prudence. The ultimate technology helps us generate power while complying with stringent eco-standards. even today, we introduce innovations to generate pollution-free energy. The energy to last forever, preserving the world that we move towards the better. We believe in future. We dream big. We believe we are all on the same team because movement is our job. We are the ones who put the wheel into motion. We make the trains move. We fly above the clouds. And we anticipate trends. We are the engine of growth. NIS, Future at Work.
Thank you. As you can see, our company has more than 11 employees, and almost 40% of them are young experts up to 35 years old. 28% of them are highly educated, and 152 of them are educated abroad. For some time, the company was dealing with the discrepancy between the supply and demand of human resources on the labor market and the lack of professional employees in the field of natural and technical science. To keep up with new trends in our industry, it was necessary to modernize the technologies and methodology of the work. In order to attract competition, young experts will launch a major program, Energy of Knowledge, in 2012. Not only had we wished to provide quality experts for our needs, we also want to improve the education system in Republic of Serbia. As you can see, we have a very strong cooperation with school and scientific societies, also cooperation with university and faculties, and, of course, scholarship for our students. This is one of the most important things, and NIS has established strong cooperation with scientific society and schools, providing them financial support. NIS also renovated and equipped classroom cabinets and labs at the faculty and the schools. In this moment, by now, we equipped more than 50 classrooms and labs all around Serbia. In cooperation with the Ministry of Education, modified several study programs at partner faculty and schools. One of our main activities is the organization of guest lecture of NIS experts. I can proudly say that we organized more than 30 lectures in this academic year. How are we attract the talents? We designed competitive and unique scholarship program. On the following slide, we list the main university in the Republic of Serbia and Russia Federation where our students are studying at this moment. In Serbia, this is University of Belgrade and University of Novi Sad. In Russia Federation, we have a cooperation with the Gubkin Russian State University, St. Petersburg Mining University, Tyumen Industrial University, Ukhta State Technical University, and Lobochevsky State University of Nizhny Novgorod. In this academic year, NIS has 35 active scholarship contracts with the top students. Our scholarship program includes the employment in our company. For the students which study in the Russia Federation, scholarship includes accommodation, transportation, medical insurance, as well as a monthly cash amount, and of course, internship in our company. In 2018, the first generation of 8 scholarship holders graduated from Russian University, and they were employed at our company. By September 2019, the second generation of 18 scholarship holders who just graduated from Russian University will become our colleagues. Some of them are here now. Our students take part in international projects as well as in international oil and gas forums and conferences, providing an opportunity to travel abroad and gaining new experience and expertise in their field of interest is one of the essential motivators for capturing and retaining the best talents. Now, I would like to invite you to watch a short video, Experience Through Energy of Knowledge program of our young colleagues. Please, the second video.
After graduating from a primary and high school in Moscow, I returned to Belgrade, where I finished my bachelor studies at the Faculty of Mining and Geology. I did not expect this road would take me back again to Russia, more precise to Ukhta, the cradle of Russian oil and gas industry, where I finished my master's studies.
I come from a small town in eastern Serbia. Although I have always had a fascination with natural sciences, I did not believe that I was enrolled in the oldest technical university in Russia, St. Petersburg Mining University, and become NIS scholarship holder.
Bachelor study in the Moscow University Bukin and living in the multi-million city gave me an opportunity to gain friends from 20 countries on 4 continents.
My wish came true. I returned to Serbia and started my professional career in NIS. Today I speak 4 foreign languages that are playing an important role in a multinational company.
I believe that the synergy of my Russian and Serbian education is a winning combination of experiences that allow me to see the present and the future of the biggest oil company in Serbia, where I'm working at this moment.
Studying abroad gave me a sense of responsibility and autonomy.
I'm working in the field of petrophysics, which combines knowledge of oil and gas. Petrophysics has a large space for introduction of new ideas and scientific technologies.
I can see clearly now what are benefits of foreign education and their impacts on career development in Serbia. I'm glad I'm back.
I think that the future and the direction of professional growth of oil engineers lies in EOR methods. That's the area I would like to grow professionally.
I think this is the true example of company that invests in development of highly educated employees, giving them a chance to make a career in their own country. In the future, I would like to work on offshore oil platform.
At the end, I would like to say that the continued development of our employees is the imperative for us. During 2018, the company invested about 2 million euros into development of knowledge, skills, and capabilities of its employees. And we realized more than 2,200 courses were held for NIS employees. Thank you for your attention.
Snezhana, thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. Yeah, definitely building bridges between universities and the industry is really important to provide the continuous improvements of the industry generally. And it's very nice that you have this scholarship for students. And I also saw in the video some familiar faces, which is very cool. Thank you very much. Now we have just 10 minutes left for the discussion. So that's why I would like to propose you to start with the questions from the audience. Are there any questions? Yeah, on the back row.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for our speakers for fruitful presentation and discussions. I'm Shahrukh Almatov from Uzbekistan, project GTL, Uzbekneftgaz, and Kirill Valentinovich, если позволите, я хотел бы задать вам вопрос.
Kirill Valentinovich, I have a question for you. You were telling us that after the graduation, the students, when they are enrolled to the company, they say, forget everything you were taught at the university. On the hindsight, wow, if you could return back to your young years, 20 years back from now, when you only started as a young specialist, which tips would you give to yourself?
Что бы вы три совета дали себе, что бы вы сделали,
three major tips to yourself, what you have done, or what you have not done, how do you return back into the future, mindful of your great experience and expertise now, looking back. Thank you very much. I'm glad to welcome the representatives of Uzbekistan. We've got great cooperation with Uzbekistan. In a nutshell, a couple of words. I'm very thankful to everybody who was talking, especially companies' representatives. I also saw familiar faces with those with whom I work at TNK, BP, and ExxonMobil. But this is a subsidiary of Gazprom Neft, and actually all of you are my very good friends, because in the past I worked together with my colleagues who are now at GPN. So, as to Uzbekistan and all the companies of oil and gas sector, I'm quite outspoken. Typically, I say I wouldn't want to change anything I had before. I wouldn't have done anything differently on the hindsight, but if I could do that back then, I would have done everything possible to retain the Soviet Union, not to disintegrate it. That was my personal opinion, because Soviet Union was socially oriented state working for the sake of people. What happened and the way Russia has been restoring and reinstating itself is also the result of the fact that Russia will always be and always has been socially responsible country, socially responsible state, but that's my very personal take on it. Secondly, I'm here to say that Russia is so huge that when you work in Russia, you can work in any location and get great pleasure from your communications and discourse. Your peers, I communicate with at Gubkin Oil University, and here, I support those young people who would like to leave Moscow, St. Petersburg to start working at Sakhalin, not just Exxon, but there are many other projects, or Yakutia for that matter. The Arctic has got vast potential now. You can go there, you can go places, it's wonderful, incentives, it's about self-fulfillment. Bottom line, you'll become, after a short while, the person who will be the creator of your own destiny. Second important thing, I would like to work more in different points of Russian Federation. I had done that had I had this opportunity. I had to work mostly between St. Petersburg and Moscow, slightly in Tver, for a while in Murmansk, so Nizhny Novgorod, and thirdly, what's most important maybe, provided I had that ability in the past to get this wonderful international experience to which you're entitled nowadays. I would have tried and worked back then in Statoil, let's say, overseas projects of Russian companies to figure out how we can fuse what is done overseas with what is done here. Just for an example, to confirm my words, you'll all be in very high demand by the market. A while ago, I worked at Stockman Development. We had a project in Barents Sea. It was not finished due to unbiased reasons, because the technology suggested 7 years back from now. Back then, they were very sophisticated, very complex, and working 300 kilometers away from the shore at the fixed point of hydrocarbons and gas we had to transport out of there. That was the attempt at a breakthrough, which will happen, but later on. So we tried to invite our Russian students who in 2007 Statoil recruited. They tested students of St. Petersburg universities, Mining University, Military Mechanical University, the Polytech, the Technological University, High Precision Mechanics and Optics, and Shipbuilders University. Out of 600 students, they selected 80. Out of those 80 students who came to work in Statoil Statoil 4 years after. We returned only 2 of them back because actually we were highly competitive, fostering those young talents in Russia, but they're in such a high demand overseas that we couldn't get them back. We couldn't persuade them to get back here. Maybe some of you are here in this hall and back to Russia, I don't know, but I'm quite frank with you. You will be in the highest demand for the nearest 30 to 40 years down the road. Everything's going to be all right with you.
Thank you very much for the answer. Okay, we will take one more question and we'll go to wrap up.
Okay, now, thank you very much for your presentations. I found them really interesting. My name is Laura Garcia and I'm the Vice Chair of the Young Professionals Committee. And I have a general question for the panel. There are several of you that were addressing that now for us, like young professionals, is more important recognition than having a higher salary. I think recognition is really linked with reaching relevant positions and decision-making positions, even if you are young, that they are not looking at you different in terms of your age, but in terms of your capacity. But however, when we look at other industries, like the IT that Dana was mentioning several times in her presentation, you look that you have a lot of CEOs that are under 35 and nobody look at them differently because they are young. So I would like to hear your opinion as seniors on why this is not happening in our industry. Why, if you look around, I don't have any example of CEOs under 35, and if this is just something that we have inner in our industry that we don't really get to trust that much young people just because of their age. Thank you.
Okay, who of the distinguished panelists will answer this question?
I've got an answer. I want my colleagues to answer first.
I again speak English, and I again return to our example with our current general manager in Sakhalin, who is a young lady, a little bit over 14. And we are working on this. We are not perfect in ExxonMobil, but we realize this is a problem, and we are working on this. We create programs for developing young professionals, for developing their leadership capabilities. Because being young and professional, this is a status. You need to show that you can make an impact, that you can make a difference. You need to make your voice heard. So a lot is with the young professionals. And if they make them heard, they can make a difference and become leaders. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other comments from the colleagues?
I would like to build on this, and I think there are also different ways to accelerate actually the time to autonomy. So what we are trying to do also in terms of our technical professionals is at MOVE Group to accelerate time to autonomy of young professionals, because it's not just enough to finishing university, but to gain certain experience. So we are focusing very much on technical career ladder, which is going parallel to managerial one, to achieve certain autonomy, and very early, actually earlier than usual, 6 to 8 years, to achieve autonomy, to be independent professional as well, which gives then a lot of opportunities for young leaders actually to step then to bigger leadership roles.
Okay, thank you very much. I think...
Well, I'll tell you a very specific answer. It's not generic. A young specialist, according to Russian law, is the person who 3 years ago, a young specialist, 3 years ago graduated from the institution of higher learning by Russian legislation. Looks like within 3 years, you're envisaged that you'll become a top manager of the company responsible for capitalization, technological equipment, development of the companies, so on and so forth. I agree with HR experts that 3 years is just a period of time when you start understanding what you are supposed to do, starting perceiving the information because you're inexperienced. But on the other hand, there are lots of examples when young people under age of 35 become CEOs. A specific example should be sitting next to me. It's the guy who came along to the Ministry of Energy after me, Pavel Sorokin. He's 32. He is responsible for the entire sector, high responsibility, and he scores up, he qualifies. You guys can give it a try. Well, why not? There are young specialists in Sakhalin Energy, Exxon Oil and Gas has got it. Heads of departments, young people, is great responsibility and financial liability. We're talking $100 billion, trillions rubles actually. So go ahead and let me add up two more words. State Duma of Russian Federation only yesterday taken on board a new law on the changing the law on expat specialists. Now expat specialists can be entitled to have Russian citizenship, not after 3 years working as CEOs in the energy sector, but after a year. So any person, any expat specialist who one way or the other demonstrated high skills and capacities in oil companies, coal companies, and so on, that expat CEO can become a member of Russian Federation. In our sector, we have got 2.5 million, 1 million works in oil and gas. Mindful of the total numbers of population, less than 1% of population is working in oil and gas. Great latitude for growth for young specialists, actually. You're giving the latitude, that's what you're going to do. Great capacity, great potential.
Thank you very much. I think we can continue with question and answers a bit later after the session because we run out of time. So, and to wrap up, I would like to ask the speakers just the last question, which requires one answer. The answer is requiring one word or one sentence. So the question is, what key quality should have the professional of the 21st century? What is this key quality? One word or one sentence? Joanna, please.
My word is curiosity.
Okay.
I would say flexibility and creativity.
Okay, thank you. Kirill Valentinovich?
I would go with agility and resilience.
Thank you.
Creativity and ability to take risk.
Okay.
Courage.
Thank you.
One more time, please repeat your answer.
Courage and creativity.
Просто не было слышно.
In point of fact, in my understanding, it's responsibility and commitment for people you work with, and you are responsible for the work you do.
Thank you very much. Dear participants of this session, if you have any questions left, you can discuss all those questions with the speakers after the session. Now I'd like to thank one more time our distinguished panel. Thank you very much for your participation and contribution to the forum. From the organizing committee, we have a small gift for you. Please stay on stage after the session. And I would like to wish to all the participants of the forum a nice closing ceremony, because today is the last official day of the forum. Thank you very much for your participation, and let's keep in touch in the future. Thank you.
Dear guests, we invite you to join the closing session here at this hall at 4:30. Thank you.